2 weeks in a row. Dang.
I think I have her dream though.
Do you?
She called it
Oh,
Tuesday,
wait.
so you can smile and nod and
You want to read it?
give us or something, but we'll read
Give
your
us a
dream.
thumbs up if we're actually going in the right direction.
Yes. I had a dream on 4/26, 2022. I was driving on a freeway past an unknown city downtown. My husband in the passenger seat. On my left, I could see in the distance skyscrapers and other buildings in the downtown area. There was snow on the ground. It was clearly winter, and the roads were clear. Excuse me. Then from the sky, I could see huge rolls of red Christmas wrapping paper unrolling from the sky. The rolls of wrap were actually self wrapping from the sky, winding very neatly around the tall buildings. And once done, the wrap fit like shrink wrap. It was as if a force was above decorating from the sky. From what I could see, much of the downtown area was already wrapped in red or silver striped holiday wrap. Also floating in the sky was an abundance of enormous holiday flowers, white and red wreaths, and huge white flowers and enormous bouquets. These were the biggest flowers I have ever seen, and the Christmas theme was unmistakable. Finally, there was the most amazing aroma of holiday spice in the air, sort of like spiced hot cider and sweet baked goods. The aroma was so delicious and palpable, I could almost taste how delicious it smelled.
And it was delicious. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Can
We
you hear
can.
me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it
I
was
just had to
delicious.
hit the right button.
Hey, good to
All
have
right.
you on, Chris.
Oh, you know what? Virtual hug.
Oh, virtual hug. How's the art going?
The art's going very well. Thank you. I've had some family stuff happen in the meantime with my mom.
Aw,
Uh, and so it was good that I took some time away. Yeah, I needed to. So my mom's
part of
passed.
our family. So
Yeah,
Wow.
thank you.
Sorry.
this for a long time, and sometimes you got to step away and take care of some stuff. And we miss you, and we love you, and
I miss you guys too a lot.
oh,
I do.
I miss you, Chris.
so glad you came on.
Thank you.
So mom's doing better.
No, my mom passed.
Oh, your mom
Yes.
passed. So sorry. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So she is doing better.
Well, you know what? You would think that I would be sad, but I'm not because I feel like the Lord's been giving me dreams of confirmation that my mom is doing well, and I just feel like she's in a really good place. And so my heart is not sad. My heart is glad for her because she's not suffering anymore. So I'm happy for her.
yeah.
Mm.
Wow. Well, I know it's hard to go through, but
It
we're
is.
rejoiced with you in her graduation.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So now, dream. What did
Oh,
y'all think?
the dream.
I got to tell you. So let me just say this.
Yeah.
I could not get that dream out of my head for 3 weeks. I could still smell the dream for 2 weeks. It impacted me greatly because I've never had a dream where it was visual and audio, where I could hear like the car driving, and I've never had smell and aroma like that in my dream.
Mm.
Never all three senses like that.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, Neil, did you want to take a shot, or Chris, did you want to tell us what your thoughts
What do you
were?
think it was?
Well, I because I've been dealing with so much family stuff, I didn't have time to break it down. But I'll just give you a general. For some reason, I had this feeling of Kim Clement's dream, "I will make them happy," or his prophecy about "I will make them happy in December." I felt like there was a broader perspective to this dream.
Mhm.
I felt like God was showing me things, beautiful things to come. I'm not sure if it's this December or this. I mean, it was unmistakable that it was winter because I saw snow, but it wasn't like, impeding the road in any way. It was clear. Um, but I felt like it was about of things to come, and they were good things because I just felt so good. I felt like the dream was a gift.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I was reading it, as I was reading it, when I got to the part where the buildings, the skyscrapers were being wrapped, before I got to the next part, I saw them being shrunk wrapped. It was just like this. I just saw the wrapping paper just grab it and just tighten it so it was wrapped around like a beautiful. I mean, it was just changed the color of it. It just looked red and silver.
Yes.
That was a cool part of it. It's a very vivid dream, which I love. I like how God talks to you in dreams. I like all your dreams, actually.
Oh man, wait till someday if we ever have a drink together, I'll tell you my courts in heaven dream.
Ooh, yeah. I see. This is kind of heaven comes to earth dream. I mean, that's kind of what I see. It's the Christmas theme is so obvious in it. It's like there is a birthing coming. I kind of heard city transformation, but I don't know if that makes any. I don't know if it fits into here. But you're driving on a freeway. You're driving, so this is your destiny, and you're on a free way. So you are free to roam wherever you go. In Christ, there's a lot of freedom, and your husband is in the passenger seat, so you're the one. He's with you, so that's a good thing. And the thought that you see these skyscrapers off in a distance, I think you're right. This is a future. This is a yet to come thing. This hasn't happened yet. And so in the distance, you see the skyscrapers, this magnificent downtown area, and it all points to a winter season. I'm not sure if it's physical winter season. It seems like it because it's Christmas, and so everything's getting wrapped. It's like the city is being transformed for Christmas. This giant gift, this whole city is like a gift to you. You ever thought about running for mayor?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, now you have.
I have not thought about politics.
You know,
And I will tell you, the wrap and the flowers were, if God's angels are bigger than we could ever imagine, that's how big the rolls of wrap were. And that's how
yeah.
big the flowers were, bigger than any man could ever begin to imagine.
And the aroma was clearly a holiday kind of smell to it
Oh,
by the
man.
looks of it.
It was,
It just everything points to Christmas. It's like, this is it's more than just a single gift. This is like a banquet of gifts. It's physical. There's these buildings that are wrapped up for you, these flowers that are just absolutely amazing. And all those treats, and it's like a giant banquet on top of that, but it's adorned with flowers and the smells of heaven. I mean, really, I mean, it's like heaven come to earth for you in this little place. But yeah, think about running for mayor.
I need to get to my final destination city for that.
Yeah, okay. What'd you hear?
If you want to know what city it's talking about, I can tell you.
What city is it, John?
What city do you think of when you think of smells and skyscrapers?
Oh, man. What city do I think of? Smells and skyscrapers?
Particularly skyscrapers.
Oh,
New
I've lived
York,
in different places,
New
so
York.
skyscrapers reminds me of Chicago. I hope it's not Chicago.
No, it
Uh,
rhymes with Blue Fork.
all right, somebody guess for me because I don't know what it is.
Ooh, Fork.
Blue Fork,
New
It
York.
rhymes with Blue Fork.
New York. What?
New York. New York.
You know what? Mike, my husband, would have to be in the passenger seat because otherwise I'd never get him there.
Well, that's why Stella's happy. Stella's like, yeah, absolutely. Um, Aren't you from Jersey or something, Chris? Where are you from?
No, are you kidding? I'm from San Diego. I'm a SoCal gal.
That's close. That's
I've
close
just
to New
lived in
Jersey.
different places. My work used to move me to different locations. And so
Okay.
I've lived in the Southeast and the Pacific Northwest and the Midwest. And here I am now in the Southwest.
Time for the East Coast, I guess, huh?
Probably not.
Well, the whole idea of like being a present and being new, and Christ has come at Christmas time. Those themes. I agree with Neil. It's the idea of city transformation. Um, I love it's in. I think it's in Ezekiel and in excuse me, Ezekiel and in Revelation, where it talks about, and I saw a city coming down out of heaven, and it talks about the New Jerusalem, which is interesting because I spent a good amount of time working in city transformation. And one of the questions you have to ask yourself, if you're really serious about transforming a city, is what are we transforming it into? And so you begin to look at ideas in scripture related to cities and communities. And what I found was interesting is there's like a river flowing through it, and there's a tree of life in the center. And I'm like, wow, I said, the New Jerusalem is just like the Garden of Eden. And God corrected me and he said, no, the Garden of Eden is like the New Jerusalem. And a city is a place where people dwell together in community. And the first group of people was Adam and Eve. And so Eden was actually the first city. And it was like a prophetic juxtaposition of what the New Jerusalem would be like. And when you look at the New Jerusalem, it talks about how tall and high and the walls and the plumb lines. And so they're very defined boundaries and shapes in the city. And I think it's really interesting because that's the same way with skyscrapers. Like you can tell, a lot of times you can tell a city by just looking at the skyline. And you can see there's certain buildings that you're like, yep, that's definitely in New York, or yep, there's the Sears Tower, that's Chicago, or even San Diego or LA, if you know your cities. And so part of a city is the idea that it's memorable and it's a memorial that people can look at and they can recognize, the different attributes of the city. But the idea of a city being made new, excuse me, and wrapped up and hermetically sealed. It also reminds me, interestingly enough, of I was a rescue worker at Ground Zero after 9/11. And so I went back. I always wanted to be there for New Year's Eve. And when I left New York after 2 weeks of working, just digging for body parts and, all kinds of horrific stuff, I promised myself I need to come back when the city is better because I have such a love for New York. I've spent so much time in New York. I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks of time that I would go out there and just spend time there and, all parts of the city and the different boroughs and stuff. And so I love, love, love New York City. So I'm like, I need to go back. And I always wanted to go for New Year's Eve anyway. So I decided in 2001 on December 30th that I was going to go the next day for New Year's Eve with no plans, no hotels. I mean, try this on any other given year and it probably wouldn't work. But on this year, I actually got a hotel literally a block off of Times Square because it was probably one of the least attended New Year's Eve parties there were in Times Square because of the terrorist actions for that year. But it's funny because I went there to celebrate, but I actually, of course, was inextricably pulled to Ground Zero, and I spent a good amount of time just kind of hanging out at Ground Zero, which it was still a recovery site, and then we're still, people working 24/7 around the clock. But there was a hotel and Embassy Suites down there that they had broken in every single door. Excuse me. And when you're a rescue worker, when you get tired and you're just like at the point of collapse, you just want to find a place where I can curl up and sleep without like getting stepped on or whatever. And so literally like the first row of buildings right off of the site was this Embassy Suites hotel, and I realized that they had broken all the locks and all the doors were open. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna hop into a hotel room and crash out on a bed for a minute. But I went back when I went back. When I went back for New Year's, I went down, and that same building was completely hermetically sealed, shrink wrapped in plastic, and it said, danger, do not enter because of asbestos and all the stuff, and I was like, wow, I spent like 2 or 3 nights there, but so the whole idea of being hermetically sealed is the idea to get out the toxins as well, and to be able to go in and, excuse me, contain something that's bad and then purge it so the new can come in. But the idea of being shrink wrapped and sealed with wrapping paper is certainly the idea of being made new, because when something is wrapped in wrapping paper, it's given as a gift to somebody, and it's brand new to that person that receives it. And so I feel like this is God's promise to make, in particular, the cities of this great country new again. And even the idea of, some of the hot spots of controversy when things don't happen that people, or things happen that people don't like, tend to be cities and places where people have decided to focus on being vandals and looting and things like that.
Yeah.
The crime, because of bad policies and whatnot, has risen in the cities. And if there's ever a place that really needs transformation, particularly in America, it would be certain cities, but New York City would be definitely at the very, very top of that list. And so I believe what God is showing you is his heart for the Big Apple, and particularly his heart for cities, but his heart for, like, if you ever go to New York, like the sights, the smells, the food, the vendors, I love, love, love to go about 3 weeks before Christmas. Because it's the best place. You go to the garment district, it's the best place to shop. There's all of the vendors. You go down Bleecker Street, and there's just shoe store after shoe store after shoe store after shoe store, and so it's just an amazing place to go and to be caught up. And they decorate so well, and the sights and the smells and the busyness. And of course, you always take a evening off, and you go to a really nice dinner, and then you go see a show. And so, yeah, I just love New York, but it's almost to the point, by what I'm hearing by people that live there currently, that I don't know that I want to go right now.
No,
because there's real danger there right now. There's real things that are happening, unfortunately, that some people can really feel unsafe. And with crazy policies and what people are trying to do with social experimentation with police forces and whatnot, they're destroying some of the cities in America. Washington, D.C. would be another one for different reasons. But I feel like it's the idea that God still has a heart, and he wants to make all things new, and he wants to give us our cities back as a gift, where there will be places that we can recreate ourselves and walk amongst the parks and streets and boulevards and all of that, as he designed for us to be able to live in community. So it's particularly the idea of restoring community in the United States, but also on some of the coasts where things have been a hotbed of controversy and crime, and it's skyrocketed, murder and everything else. Is God wants to go in and bring his spirit, bring his dwelling, his presence, literally the very idea of what Christmas means to Christians, to the place that we'll love to be again.
Boy, I hope so. I'm believing for it in a big way. I keep telling folks, I'm like, I know this year is going to be a little rough, but it's going to be better. It's going to be better.
Yeah.
Have no
Christmas
fear.
Christmas is coming.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah.